All right. Welcome to episode 3 of Mike Talks. Well, I'm not liking this jumper, but anyway, that's not part of it. I am joined by a very special guest, Reuben Solo. This guy right here, if you're watching the video, and if you are listening to the audio only, no video, describe yourself. How do you look visually?
So I have shoulder length hair. It's looking all right. It's not the best. I have a black crew with a little lightning bolt logo.
Yeah, what's that? Is that Harry Potter themed, or is it just generally?
It's Headgum merch.
Headgum. Oh, the Headgum Podcast Network.
Yeah,
what podcast do they do?
Oh, they host a whole range. It's founded by Jake and Amir.
Oh yes,
who
I used to love them.
Sketches on College Humor. Yeah.
So Reuben Solo, obviously comedian, writer, actor extraordinaire, the triple threat. Works on Luke and Lewis, which is kind of like where you sort of came into the public sphere a little bit more.
Yes, that's how I know you.
And similar to me, that's how I sort of came into the public sphere.
Really riding on those coattails.
And I want to start by saying that Reuben, who if you don't follow on Insta or YouTube, you should, because you do some of the funniest stuff. Funniest content I've seen on both platforms.
Thank you very much.
And we will dive into that a little bit. But how are you, man? Let's just start with that.
I am good.
Yes.
I lockdown's over. The election is almost over.
It's looming. I think Biden's got it.
Biden, it seems like he's got it.
Yeah.
It was really touch and go there for a moment. And we can come back to this later if you want. I don't really want to sour the mood by talking about the election.
I didn't really expect to talk about the election at all, to be honest.
You asked me how I was, and I was like, what are the two biggest things happening in my life at the moment?
Lockdown and the election.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've realized, we've probably been going for 2 minutes, but I feel like when you came in, because we're doing this in person, which is great, first in-person Mike Talks. When you came in, we're both sitting on a couch and you said, oh, we're just going to do it on the couch, like from one angle. And I was like, yeah, why not? And I think this whole 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes now, both of us have just kind of been like, do we look at the camera or do we look at each other? It's kind of like it does kind of look like I've brought you home after a date and we're both on the couch being like, oh, are we, there's a bit of chemistry. Are we moving in closer? It is a bit like that.
It is very awkwardly seated. So, because I assumed, because I brought my laptop to film as well, I assumed we were going to be facing each other like
across
pretty
a
much,
desk.
Yeah, across a desk or
Joe Rogan style.
Yeah. But that's not the case. We're on the same plane
axis.
or axis.
We're on an x-axis.
Yeah. And we have to, because the couch
it's a 2-person couch. It's not even a 3-seater.
It's not. We're way too close. We're not social distancing. I have to like tilt my body to face you, and then the camera's over there. I don't know. It's a disgrace.
It
really.
This is like, but we're not changing it now. Like we have started. The awkwardness of this will persist. And like, if you're watching the video, you'll see the awkwardness. Like, look at us. What do we do?
Yeah, I keep glancing at my hair. I don't like having to
see yourself.
Having to see myself. Yeah, it makes me very self-conscious.
Yeah, because I'm filming on a laptop, so you can see right in front of us the entire screen. And
do you look when and also like same for a Zoom call, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you look at the camera or do you look at the image?
I look at myself in the image.
I always look at myself.
Yeah.
Even on a Zoom call. I'm only looking at myself when I'm on a Zoom call.
Like you're not looking at, when you do Luke and Lewis, you're not looking at either of them.
No, fuck the other guys.
Yeah. But I think that's a thing. Like you want to make sure you're looking your best. And at the moment, I got to say we both are. I mean, the light's doing us a bit of justice.
There's also, I guess no one else would know this, but there's a big light.
Yes.
And it's very bright.
It is so bright.
It actually makes looking at the screen quite hard because there's a light right above it.
The light is like the sun. If you look directly at that light, you'll be blinded.
Yeah. You do that thing where you close your eyes and you can still see it.
But that's a bit of it. We're also in my bedroom. So my studio is now my bedroom, which Did
you have a studio?
At my apartment, because I've just moved here. Yeah. At my apartment, I didn't have a studio. I just had a living room that was essentially this couch. This table.
It used to be an apartment, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I literally just moved here last week.
Congrats.
Saturday, not even last week. Right. You're the first friend that's been here.
Wow, big news.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you. It's a privilege, I guess.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's good to have you here. My pretty messy bedroom, and I did give it a little bit
It's
of a
pretty
clean.
good. It's
Oh,
pretty
cool.
good.
Good, man.
I like you got a nice bookshelf and
Yeah.
seems to be organized well.
Thanks, man.
I approve of that.
Well, let's go on. Enough about me and my bedroom.
Sure,
And
yeah.
these awkward camera angles. So, you let's start with like your sketches and stuff. And
Sure.
what Mike Talks is just me catching up with mates. So you're a mate. We're talking. We're already doing the podcast, so no pressure.
Easy. Mike Talks with mates.
With mates, yeah. Mike Mike and friends.
Well, nice little niche Luke and Lewis reference. Yeah, Mike Talks is a little bit confusing because that's already what your podcast is.
Yeah, because in fact, my normal podcast, 20th Century Boy, is just me.
Just you talking.
It's just Mike Talks.
Yeah.
But I think it's sort of like Mike Talks to Mike
Yeah.
Talks to Reuben Solo. Yeah.
Misleading, but
it is misleading.
We're here now, so let's continue.
So when your sketches on Insta and YouTube and you do reels as well, which are very funny. But one thing that they're really funny on their own, but one thing that I love about them, and this so leans into my style of comedy, is at the end of the sketch, and you write them and play all the characters, and it's like they all look like you, but they're just wearing different clothes essentially.
Yep.
At the end of the sketch ends, and then you come back and you've done scripted bloopers where the different versions of you, like where you're basically performing as if all the versions of you are actors, and they're interacting with each other behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, because I love it.
Yes. Very happy I came up with that idea. Pretty proud of it. I don't think I've seen, there is something that exists similar that you might have seen at the end of I think there's one at the end of like Toy Story 2.
I was gonna say this, and A Bug's Life.
And A Bug's Life.
In those movies, they have scripted animated bloopers that's what it reminded me of.
Yes. And that didn't, I guess, might have inspired me subconsciously, but yeah, I came up with the idea because I think I'd recently done a few sketches with other people.
Yeah.
And so there'd been bloopers in that. And then there was something about the sketch that at first happened in where I think I had to lean over to the other character, and I had got my mum to body double.
Yeah.
And
Does she have similar hair to you?
No, I cut her, the head was out of the frame.
Okay.
That would be embarrassing. And yeah, and I just thought like it would be funny now that I've done this body double thing in this sketch. It would be funny if I like doubled down on the whole is that the same guy?
Yeah, yeah.
And I just put a blooper in. I didn't think about it too hard, but then everyone just like lost their mind about it. It's like, this is incredible. I was like, wow, all right.
My favorite style of comedy is fourth wall breaking, meta, self-referential comedy, and that's like essentially what it is. It's like you've done this whole sketch that's really funny in itself, and then you come back, and I don't know, like, so you don't really, there wasn't any other inspiration for that other than perhaps the Toy Story and the Pixar ones?
I think so. Have you seen anything else?
No, not really. Like, when I think of fourth wall breaking comedy, I always go back to this movie, The Emperor's New Groove. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
No. So it's a really good old school Disney movie that's a comedy, and throughout the movie is littered with the characters being aware that they are in a film and like referencing the fact that
strange for a Disney movie.
It was a really weird Disney movie. So it kind of reminds me of that. Like the main character will pop in and he's narrating the movie while he's in the movie. So he'll talk to himself, and in the movie he'll be like, hey guys, the audience saw this. They know what happened. Like, all right, sorry. Like stuff like that. So it kind of reminds me of that a fair bit. But like what are your comedy inspirations? Like who do you like? Who did you grow up watching?
I mean, I never was comedy wasn't a huge part of my life until like late high school, I would say. I got into film first in like when I did media, and then I'd studied film and television, and like Edgar Wright was a huge one for me, as I'm sure pretty much any film geek would say as well.
And that's why I have no idea who Edgar
Wright is. Oh, you don't know who Edgar Wright is? So he did Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End.
Yeah.
very like referential in terms of like other films and very visually groundbreaking almost.
Mm. Those movies, I've seen none of them, but I am aware
they're
that
talked
they are,
about.
they are very well regarded films.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're cultish a little bit.
And is he New Zealander or are they?
He's British.
He's British. That's
Yes,
right. Okay.
yes. And then I don't know. I mean, Auntie Donna, of course. They're brilliant. I don't watch too many other sketch like Gus Johnson, Sven Johnson.
Yeah. Auntie Donna is another one that I kind of think of when I see your stuff, mainly because they're really absurdist, and your stuff's like obviously not as absurd and not as crude, but there's like just the fact that you're doing little plays with yourself essentially is what I really like.
Yes. And Jake and Amir, I guess I should have mentioned, is the other one. Especially in terms of dialogue, you can if you watch a Jake and Amir sketch and then watch not all of them, but some of mine, you can really see the influence.
Yeah. So what are your favorite Jake and Amir sketches?
Oh man, there's
and if you don't know, Jake and Amir were like was it college
humor was where they worked.
Yeah.
And they just did a sketch series called Jake and Amir.
Yeah.
Which it was a pretty basic comic premise. It was just like straight man, funny man.
It was very similar to Hamish and Andy in terms of the dynamic. Like,
yes,
Andy is Jake, Amir is Hamish. Like, one's really dumb and the other one is calling it out, but the dumb one always sort of trumps the other one a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Amir is like aggressively stupid and offensive.
Yeah. And he's ignorant, like he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
I guess it's different. Like in Hamish and Andy, Hamish is probably, he's not as dumb. He's just silly, but he has a justification for his silliness.
Yes.
Amir he's more just of an idiot.
Hamish, I would say, is more of like an instigator, like a mischief maker / instigator.
Yeah, and a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah. Whereas Amir is just a bad person.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yes. Well, what were we saying about that?
Like, is there one that stands out?
I don't think so. I mean, I've watched them all. I probably haven't watched them all actually. There's like 800. Because I probably just watch them when they get recommended.
Yeah.
Rather than playlists. No, I don't. Not any that come to my mind.
I used to love Jake and Amir, and there's one called Catan where they're playing Catan. Have you seen that one?
Yes, I think I have seen that one.
If you haven't seen that, just type in Jake and Amir Catan because it is so funny. It's just like, because Catan is that Age of Empires like board game or whatever, and one of the guys is trying to explain to Jake and Amir how to play Catan, and Amir is just not listening and just trying to derail it. And then at the end, I'm gonna spoil it.
Yeah.
He's like, "All right, guys, this is gonna be a real game changer, so watch out." And he just turns off screen, comes back with a big medicine ball and just chucks it at the board. And then there's another very similar one called Monopoly where they're playing Monopoly, and at the end of that one,
I think that's the one I've seen. Maybe I haven't seen Catan. Yeah, I've definitely seen Monopoly. Yeah,
and at the end, he lands on Mayfair, and it's like, all right, you owe me $2,000, and Amir's just like, all right, not a problem, 20, 40, 60, and then he just like scrambles up the whole board, which everyone has done once while playing Monopoly.
Everyone knows that person.
The sore loser.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. And Auntie Donna as well, you said.
Yes. Yeah, big Auntie Donna fan.
I think they're pretty remarkable as well. Like they've exploded, and they're just like the sketches they do, all the school sketches and stuff, I thought were really good.
Auntie Donna are remarkable for one reason I thought of recently was they actually don't have, guess how many subscribers they have on YouTube?
I think I saw it the other day, so I might be out of an advantage here. But what is it? It's 600K around.
I think it's maybe I'm wrong. I think it was around 400K.
Yeah, okay.
So a little bit less.
Yeah.
But it's not as big as you would think. I don't think so, because most of their sketches get minimum 200K. So they've
terms of views.
Yeah.
I'm kind of probably less savvy than you at what's good / what's average on YouTube.
That's very good.
Yeah. I guess that's a 30% or a 50% if you're on 400K subs, right?
Yeah. Which is very good. So they have a really dedicated audience, which is something that I think I'm trying to cultivate as well, because my stuff isn't I mean, well, I guess especially now, it's pretty hard to go viral on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's yeah.
But you've gotten like a pretty big following pretty quickly from like what you've been posting, and you
Yeah.
have a schedule, and Luke and Lewis on their show have made fun of you a bit for the meticulousness of your
Yes.
posting schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just doing my best, and see what happens.
That's
I
all we can
guess
do.
that's all we can do. Yeah.
Do you think, and we spoke like a while ago about how obviously we've been in the midst of COVID, and it was sort of stand up that you were kind of hoping to do this year.
Yes.
Do you think that, like, if you were doing stand up, because there's stand ups like, say, like Will Anderson, stand up comedian, he just does stand up.
Yeah.
And then there's, I guess, in inverted commas, stand ups like Auntie Donna, who are more doing theater. They're doing a performance, a play.
Mhm.
Would you try and translate the comedy of your videos into an on-stage thing, or would you just do a straight up stand-up set? Like, have you thought much about that?
I think I do straight up stand up. It's interesting because I was doing stand up for a bit, not too long, but for a bit, and not really doing any videos.
Yeah.
And then stand up ended, and there was a bit of overlap, but essentially I started doing videos. So I've never really done both at the same time. So I don't know when stand up comes back. I don't know how that's going to influence my stand up and vice versa. But I was doing like nothing too out of left field stand up wise. I was trying to be more interesting than the average person at an open mic, which is pretty boring.
Yeah. So what was your material on?
What was my material on? Poor.
You don't want to give it away on the pod. Don't want to spoil it.
Nothing like there wasn't. I mean, it was just all over the shop. I didn't have like 5 minutes on one topic.
Yeah.
I had a lot of small jokes. I had a lot of do you know Anthony Jeselnik?
Ah.
He does sort of like really dark one-liners.
Yeah.
With basically just like not always one-liners, but like a joke that has a pretty long setup usually, and then a dark twist at the end. So I had a few like that, which is nothing like my sketches really. And then yeah, just some more wacky, absurdist stuff, and then just some regular observational stuff. I definitely haven't found my voice in stand-up yet. I don't think.
Okay, and you barely got a chance to.
Yeah,
do
exactly.
It,
Yeah.
What, like, when you're doing your sketches, let's just say YouTube as opposed to the reels, like the longer sketches. So you do one a week, one of the big sketches a week?
I try and do one a week. The last few weeks I've slowed down a bit.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And what's like, where does it start? Like, what gives you the idea? Like, you did all the villain who gives away his plan too early, and there was the one where, was there the Jinx one where everyone says Jinx and then there's a twist at the end where I won't spoil it, but that's a funny one as well.
Yeah.
Like, does it just sort of, is it just like you remember the idea of Jinx from primary school and you're like, oh, that could be funny?
There is like a theme in a lot of my work that I don't know if this is intentional or not, but of like old either sayings or childish concepts. And you see it a lot of my Instagram stuff. Like I did a couple recently with like the what's the time to get a watch, little things like that, little phrases, sayings that for some reason they're just like amusing concepts to me. So
don't you think it's funny for an adult to say those things? Like, it's such a childish thing that it's like, imagine if this was a thing that adults did as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, maybe we've stumbled across something in my psyche here, because my year 12 film was
for media studies.
For media studies was about two people who had who had these teddy bears.
Yeah.
And someone was trying to steal them.
Okay.
But they were like 18 years old.
Yeah, right.
And then it was like there was like a chase sequence and stuff, but it was all about protecting these teddy bears. So yeah, maybe there's some weird fascination I have with like childhood.
Here's one for you. Ready or Not, Here I Come.
That's
because
writing it down.
That's something like you don't think about that much anymore. When you're a kid, 3 times a week, you'd be saying Ready or Not, Here I Come. Now you never really say it. So guys, if there's a sketch on Reuben Solo soon that features Ready or Not, Here I Come, you know where it came from. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's easy for you to say. That's not a childish one, but I've gotten that in my notes. Just like a funny phrase.
Yeah, I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah,
those kind of ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. And one thing I said about your reels, which are like the shorter, like 15 seconds on Insta.
Usually about 15 seconds. Yeah, some of them are short, some of them are like vines, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one where one of the great ones you did was the good news, bad news.
Oh yeah.
And you press on bad news and no good news, and it's the bodies have been recovered. And you're just like, wait, is that related to the bad news?
And then the bad news button disappears. And I'm like, no, what's the bad news?
Yeah. Really good. And like, do you think is it harder to write something that's a quick, like, because you have to do setup, punchline, payoff within 15 seconds. With a sketch, you'd maybe punching jokes throughout. You can get to the point slower. There can be a twist ending, I guess. Like, is there a different process for that?
There is. I guess the reels are, I mean, probably in terms of just like the time they take versus the output, the input to output ratio is worse for a reel. Like, yeah, sometimes it'll take me an hour or two just to come up with one idea for a 15-second video. Yeah, but the longer ones, I can just like I have the idea and I can start writing. I'll just stumble across jokes as I write. So that's a lot easier. But yeah, I kind of there's something about the reels that I really like. They're just like, I don't know. There's something beautiful about the shortness of that joke and the it's a different style of comedy as well. It's like it's probably more millennial. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Reel is just Instagram's TikTok. Yeah. On that note, and not without even, I know you're not like a PhD in media or anything, but
I am actually.
Well, there you go, Dr. Solo. Welcome to the show. What do you think about TikTok and Reels? Like, what do you think in terms of? Because I guess I always sort of see them as like, fucking TikTok is so disposable, and anyone who's TikTok famous is like, yeah, they've got a lot of followers, but they're so fleeting and in the moment.
Yes.
Maybe that's just me being biased or whatever because I don't like it. But but then I look at your reels and I think they're hilarious, and I would love to just keep watching those.
Yeah.
What do you reckon the future is for Instagram, I guess, is where we end up with that question. Like or maybe just what do you think the future is for social media content creation?
Wow, that is a tough question.
You have a PhD.
You're right. And I have the answer.
In fact, it's in my thesis. It's in my thesis. What is the future of social media content creation by Dr. Reuben Solo, PhD?
Yeah, it's a coincidence you asked that question because I have it. I think, I think Reels will just stick around, but it just won't be as, I don't think TikTok's going away unless it does get banned, but that seems unlikely. TikTok has it's built a culture, which no other app has, and it's hard to destroy a culture.
Right.
Which that sounded a bit PhD, didn't it?
Yeah, it was. Do you have a source for that? Do you have a reference?
No. Yeah, but I hate TikTok. I think it's a terrible thing that's happened to the world.
You'll expand on that.
I think it's the death of creativity. Really? Because TikTok's main feature, I don't know if you're not on TikTok.
No, I was on it for a bit. Couldn't get any traction.
Good
got
choice.
Pissed off, deleted it.
Yeah, very fair.
But it's like I went from being like, I should just get on TikTok. I'll try and make some traction to like, fuck TikTok. It sucks. It's going to die anyway. Fuck this app. Like so quickly.
Yeah, I do that on a weekly basis.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But you persist.
Yeah.
You have resilience.
Yeah.
I don't. I just get upset if something doesn't work immediately for me. So yeah.
That's a good mindset.
Yeah.
So TikTok's main feature is that you can take someone's audio, take an audio from a video and make your own video with that audio.
That's right.
Which, am I sick?
You might have.
This is not good.
If I get COVID, we know. Don't worry about contact tracing it. We know where it came from.
Yeah. So, and that I think that's troubling. It's a great feature on the one hand, and does create this new culture, but it means that it's too easy to take someone else's ideas, and it encourages
plagiarism.
It encourages plagiarism, but even the lesser extent, just the sharing ideas and stuff, it encourages that, which means that it suppresses originality, which
Right.
I think is the real problem with it.
So you are saying that you think like, because people are just lip syncing and taking ideas and stuff, it's not, the app's not encouraging people to just come up with something new necessarily, because you could get as many views or more views copying something.
Exactly. And then it encourages people to, because was I about to say something? Forget it.
PhD in media, everybody.
That's how it works. Sometimes you have an idea and then it's gone.
Did you do a film and TV degree at uni?
Yes.
And what was it, Swinburne?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice. How'd you find that?
It was fine.
Mm.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, it didn't really help me, but it was good to have the degree, and I needed to do it to figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because originally at the start of the degree, I wanted to do something different than what I want to do now. So it was good for that. In terms of like I think it's one of the more prestigious. I mean, there's like 2 courses for film and TV that are supposed to be good, that one and VCA.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of the actual quality, which I think most uni students will find, it was subpar. Like, you really expected more than you got.
I feel like that's just uni though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We didn't have media at my school.
Oh no.
So, I was pretty starved in terms of being able to do that. But this is so lame. I've never said this out loud. Well, I have, but just not publicly. Not many people listen to this. When I was in, because I had a choir scholarship to school, and when I was in,
to your high school,
to high school, yeah,
really,
I had a 50% choir scholarship.
Wow.
So I got half off my school fees. I just had to be in all the choirs, and
how many choirs?
There was probably 3 choirs. So there was the senior choir, the cathedral choir, and the senior vocal ensemble, which was like, you had to be in that one. That was the best choir in the school.
At what point is it not worth it anymore?
How many choirs? Most of the time. Well, my parents saved a lot of money not having to pay for my private school fees. But and then also the Glee. One year I had to be in the Glee club, and we did Teenage Dream, which I posted a clip of on my Insta recently, and everyone laughed at it. Me doing a solo in Teenage Dream Glee club.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't even. Oh, yeah. So in year 12, every year, it gets worse. Every year, we had a choir camp. So the choir had to go on a camp and rehearse and stuff. And the best part of that was it was a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday camp. The Monday night was the choir talent quest. I won it so many years in a row.
I didn't realize you were that good at singing. Are you really that good at singing?
You didn't have to sing in the choir talent quest. You could do whatever. You could do anything.
So it was unrelated to the choir.
It was just, it was a talent quest for people in the choir.
Okay.
So everyone had to do an act.
So these people already talented at one thing, and it's like, what else are you talented at?
Yeah. And there was a guy called Tristan who was a dancer, and he was really good at dancing. He actually ended up working, I think I saw that he was working at like Universal Studios in Japan as like a dancer, which was really cool. But then a lot of people just played like violin and cello and stuff, and they just do that.
Yeah.
So were you going to say something?
No, continue. Tell me.
So one year I did a stand-up routine of all the teachers at the school, which looking back now
was a roast sort of thing.
Yeah, looking back now was almost certainly racist. But so that'll never see the light of day. It is filmed, but I'm never going to put it out because there were so many politically incorrect things. Yeah, I could edit it. But in the last year, me and my other friend Tom, we actually made a mockumentary about the choir called Choir Camp, the story of a choir, that went for 45 minutes. And that was what we did that year.
45. And that, when did you make
during the camp?
You made a 45-minute documentary in 3 days.
Yeah. pretty much. And looking back at it now, also pretty racist at points.
Right, yeah.
So that will also not see the light of day. But that, I guess that was my year 12 media film in a way, in spirit, because we
Right.
didn't have media.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. That's too long.
Yeah.
First of all, racist, as you said.
Yeah.
And but you won the talent show for that.
Oh yeah, I won. Like I reckon I won 4 years in a row.
People sat through 45 minutes.
One year, I just sang the Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny. Do you know that song? So I just sang that song, won the talent quest.
But you can't win it for singing.
Yeah, you can.
That's not allowed. You're already good at that. Everyone's already good at that.
Yeah, one time, one guy called Glenn beat me. Guess what his act was?
Singing.
No. It was an actual talent. And this pissed me off because I sung and I came second. He came first. Circus style. Think circus.
Juggling.
He juggled.
Fuck that.
He beat me with juggling.
Jugglers are posers.
I was so angry about it.
What did he juggle?
I think 4.
What, balls?
Yeah, balls.
That's some weak shit.
Not 4. What, you think he was like in year 10 juggling knives and fire sticks?
If you're only juggling 4 things, it better be dangerous.
Yeah, you think it'd be sharp knives, right?
Yeah.
One group just did cup stacking. So they just stack cups in a pyramid.
I forgot about cup stacking.
Did you have did you do any theater at school or performing or anything?
I did drama. Studied drama. Did your school have drama?
We did. I didn't do drama.
You didn't do drama?
Nah.
That surprises me.
Nah.
Yes, I was pretty
Why
good.
does it surprise you?
I don't know. I don't know. You're a bit of a drama queen.
Yeah, drama king, more like. All right, sorry about that quick break, guys. The recording stopped. I don't manage the data on my laptop very well.
You had so many things in the trash.
Yeah, I had a lot in the trash.
And you emptied it without looking at anything.
Yeah, just emptied it. I assume if it's in the trash, I decided at some point that I didn't need it. You were talking about drama.
Yes, did drama, did a few plays. I was good at them.
You look like the main character in every Shakespeare play.
Especially with the long hair.
Yeah.
I didn't do any Shakespeare. We did a Greek play of some sort. I always like doing the comedic characters though. I always got cast as those, and if I'm being honest, hit it out of the park every time.
You also look like the king's jester in any like medieval.
Sure, yeah, I could do that too. Yeah. I can do a cartwheel. That's good enough.
Can you do a cartwheel?
I can do a cartwheel. I can do a backflip.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Like coming out of COVID now, and like you're obviously you're at the start of your career. There's like so much time. Like what do you reckon you want, like moving forward?
What do I want?
Yeah, like do you go straight into stand up? Do you just keep doing videos and building an audience?
Yes, I think I want to find a bit of a balance. I definitely want to do stand up because I think eventually that's what I want to do and make money out of is stand up.
Yeah.
That's definitely more fulfilling than videos.
Yeah.
For me. So yeah, but you got to find a balance between that because the videos are where you get growth. You can't grow just doing stand up.
Yeah.
Anymore. So bit of a balance, which is going to be rough because I have a bit of a schedule and that's going to go out the window. But such is life. Yeah. And
on my podcast, I like talk a lot about pop culture and stuff. And you mentioned that you like Edgar Wright and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In the world of movies though, like talk about like your favorite movies other than the 3 you've already mentioned. Are there any others that you just think are the best movies ever?
Wow. Well, I mean, we'll circle back to something I was just about to say about how I'm not watching films anymore. But,
whoa, bombshell.
But yes, I think, do you know Aaron Sorkin?
No.
Okay, so he is primarily a writer. I know he's directed a few things now, but he wrote The West Wing.
Yep.
He wrote The Social Network.
Great movie.
That's my favorite movie.
Is it really?
absolutely.
You kind of remind me of Mark Zuckerberg in that.
Well, that's not good.
No, not in a bad, like the good parts about him.
The good parts.
I reckon he comes across great in that.
No, he doesn't.
Really?
He's an anti-hero, I guess.
I just think
When was the last time you watched that?
I watched it a few months ago in lockdown.
Really?
Yeah.
No, he's a terrible person.
One of the best moments in that movie, though, that I just loved was when, is it the Winklevoss twins?
Mm-hmm.
So they're these two, I think they were Olympians. They went into the Olympics after college, and they were the ones that were accusing him of ripping off their idea, which he pretty much did.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all in the room with the lawyers, and Mark Zuckerberg. They're two really fit, handsome, attractive men. And Zuckerberg's just like, the reason the Winklevosses are suing me is because for the first time in their life, things didn't go the way they wanted them to, or the way they expected.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was like him calling attention to like the fact that they were like from a really rich family and they had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think most people don't come off very good in that film.
Yeah.
Everyone's pretty bad, except for maybe Eduardo. He comes off pretty well. And also it's not necessarily, there were creative liberties, a lot of creative liberties taken.
Yeah.
Is that recording?
Yeah, it is. But my laptop, I'm looking at it because my laptop battery's about to die. Oh, you keep talking. I'll plug it in.
Thrilling stuff. Yes. So no, I think you may have missed the point of the film. Realistically, well, Mark's not a good guy.
But like, what is it about that film that you love so much? Is it the story or the?
I really like how it's written. I really like Aaron Sorkin's dialogue, and the way that film is structured, I think, is genius. So you have like the two court cases, and then most of the film is flashbacks, but it's not really presented as a flashback. It's almost like they're concurring, switching between them. And it's also directed by David Fincher, who's one of my favorite directors. So
yeah, cool.
And what else was I going to say film wise? I mean, like Aeroplane has got to be up there. If you've seen Aeroplane,
I haven't.
Flying High.
I was seeing a girl a few months ago, and she kept telling me
to brag.
I wasn't bragging. I'm finishing this story.
In COVID, you were seeing a girl.
No, you know how Melbourne had that like 2 months where we were sort of allowed to do stuff.
Yeah.
So I was seeing this girl, and she kept saying her favorite film was Aeroplane.
Okay, right.
Which maybe you'd like her. You might.
Give me a number.
After this, and she kept trying to make me watch it, but it wasn't on Netflix, so we never watched it.
Okay,
we watched Ghostbusters instead.
Oh, that's a pretty good substitute.
Yeah, it was pretty good. She fell asleep. I kept watching it.
Yeah, now you're not together anymore, which makes
we're not seeing each other anymore. But you know.
Yes, but circle back to this. Yeah, I'm not watching films anymore. Yeah, partly I think is because I'm very busy, but also I just sort of.
Sorry, man, you don't have to brag about how busy you are.
It's not a brag. It's
okay,
what's the opposite of a brag? It's a burden.
It's a burden, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like they just take so long, and I have the attention span for them, but I just feel like it's a slog to get through a film now for some reason.
You live at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. This is actually really interesting. I've been thinking about this a lot too. When I was living alone and at home, I never wanted to watch movies because it's sort of like I have the attention span for it, but I'm like, oh, this movie's 2 hours.
Yes.
Like
that's what
I have to sit there and pay attention to it for 2 hours. And during that 2 hours, I don't want to be like communicating on my phone or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, then I feel like I'm just going to feel isolated in those 2 hours. And like, I just don't end up watching the movie.
Yeah.
Which is probably more like a connection issue or like an addiction to my phone.
Sure.
But now that I've moved in with other people, like we'll watch movies and stuff. And
that's nice. That definitely makes it more enjoyable. Or I guess, the other thing is I like going to the cinemas every once in a while, but they close down.
Yeah.
But if watching a film with other people is much nicer than watching it by yourself.
I agree. Because you can talk about it, you can laugh about it, make fun of it.
Yeah. But that sounds like you have a bit of an issue there with connection. Are you an extrovert?
I don't know. I think I'm an introvert, but like, have you done the personality test, the Myers-Briggs?
Yeah, I can't remember what I am, but
I always get in J something, I
Yep.
think. And like, I think I'm introverted. Like I really like being by myself, but not for too long. Like I like to go and be around people, and then I like to recover by myself.
Yes. Yeah, that's a classic introvert sort of
Yeah.
trope. Yeah.
What about you?
I'm definitely introverted. Yeah, I don't like being around groups of people, and like one-on-one I'm fine with.
Mm.
But yeah, just groups that can be like uncomfortable and make social interactions difficult.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm fine. It's like yeah, it's
Yeah,
not an
you
issue
don't
for me.
sound
But
fine. You don't
yeah,
have to.
I'm
You don't
having a
have to
breakdown.
justify. All right, couple more things
Hit
before we
me.
wrap, if that's
Mhm.
cool. Firstly, music. What do you reckon's your favorite album of all time? What album should everyone listen to?
Favorite album? Well, I'd probably have to go The Crane Wife
Okay,
by the Decemberists.
the Decemberists. Are
Mm.
they? I've heard of them.
So they're like folk rock.
Cool.
And
American.
They're American. They do a lot of some of their albums, some not, but a lot of their older albums, like The Crane Wife, are very like story driven,
Like conceptual.
conceptual. Yeah. So The Crane Wife is there's 3 songs on it. It's actually only 2 tracks, but 3 songs. The Crane Wife parts 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And that's like it's a Japanese folk tale. And it's really
great.
told in a folk song. It's thrilling stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
cool.
doesn't sound it, but trust me.
I'm definitely going to give it a listen.
Give it a listen.
So they're long tracks, I assume.
Yeah, some of the tracks are really long. Yeah. They did, I mean, they did like one album, which is just like 30 minutes long or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Mm.
And the boys on Luke and Lewis make fun of you a bit because
All the time.
all the time. Yeah. You and Keelan get a really rough ride on that
Yeah.
show. I don't know who gets it worse because generally if they're making fun of Keelan, you join in.
Yeah.
And if they're making fun of you, Keelan joins in. So
yeah.
it just kind of feels like, I mean, it must suck to work there. It must be
Oh no, it's great.
terrible. Yeah,
some people like don't some people don't really get it. I feel like sometimes because I lean into it, obviously.
Yeah.
Because that's like my role. And I'm happy to play that. I think it's a lot funnier if I lean into it.
Yeah.
Which often means fighting against it, but you're leaning into it comedically, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But some people, sometimes the joke seems to go over people's head and they're like, oh, I hope Reuben's all right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, no, it's I'm fine.
It's all it's
Yeah.
theatrical.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But they often talk about you having board game nights
Yes.
with one of your friends. What's your friend's name?
Luca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have sleepovers and stuff.
Yeah,
Whatever. What board games do you like?
Okay.
What's a board game you're really into, or a few?
The one I play the most is Dominion.
Okay, I've
So
heard of that.
it's like a deck building game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know anything about deck building games, but
I've played Yu-Gi-Oh.
Sure. I don't know. I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know how to. I don't think
It's not a
similar to
deck
Yu-Gi-Oh.
building game.
Okay, right.
You already have the built deck. And
Yeah,
then
right.
But-
What else?
No, to explain.
Explain Dominion?
Yeah.
I mean, this will not be
You can't
interesting to anyone.
You can't just be like, yeah, it's a deck building game. Anyway, like explain to us.
Okay, so Dominion. I mean, there's many Dominion expansions, but basically at the start of the game, you choose 10 cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can buy those cards over the course of the game. And when you buy a card, it goes into your deck.
Yeah.
And when you run out of your deck, you reshuffle it. So over the course of the game, you're building your deck by buying more and more cards. And then eventually you want to get points. So it's basically a strategy game where you're trying to find, every game is different because every time you start with different cards.
Yeah.
But you're trying to find like the best strategy to get to the points faster than your opponent. You know?
Cool. And is there an expansion that's Dominion Minions, and it's like the minions from Despicable Me?
I wish.
Okay,
there is a card called Minion.
Okay, but it's not based on those minions.
I mean, the illustration definitely isn't. But maybe that got subconsciously. Yeah.
And any others?
Board games.
Yeah.
Or Minions.
Board games.
Despicable Me, the board game is really good.
You can play as Gru and 5 different minions.
Yeah, it's a deck building game. Yeah.
You can only get minion cards, and they're all the same. They're just minions.
Whoever goes first wins.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Other board games. I don't think anything like that other people will know.
That's all right, man. No one knew the Decemberists.
That's so true. This is a bit niche, isn't it? This podcast. Well, here's something that will actually be a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
I am making a board game.
You are not.
I am.
And what's it called? Reuben's Adventures of Comedy.
It's called Despicable Me.
Number 2, the board game.
Unofficial. So anticipating some legal trouble. It's called Crown and Dagger.
Yeah.
So we're making it with Luca, and we're getting like the artwork done. It's legit. It's going to be published, and we honestly think it's like one of the best games we've ever played. It's so fun.
Really,
that's truly
funny, man. Because I think my podcast is one of the best podcasts I've ever heard.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean,
no, but you're a clever guy.
Yeah.
Like it sound like, what do you do in the game?
Okay, imagine battleships.
Yeah.
You've played battleships?
I have never lost Battleship.
Undefeated.
I love Battleship and I've never lost. I was playing Keelan the other day and I beat him.
You're going to love this game. All right.
Okay.
So imagine battleships, except...
I thought you were going to be like, imagine battleships. That's it. We're just reskinning battleships. They'll never know. They'll never find out. You sunk my dagger.
Rethemed. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So you've got 5 cards, and they're identical to the other person's cards.
Sounds a lot like the Minions game we described before.
It's not the Minions game, but the Minions is probably the best board game I've ever played. This is like second best.
Yeah.
You got 5 identical cards, and they're all characters, and they're face down.
Gotcha.
So basically, you are trying to kill the king and the queen.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like chess. Just taking bits from every game.
Exactly right.
Remixing
right. It's fucking TikTok again. When you kill the king and the queen when they're both dead, but you can revive cards. When they're both dead, you win. And basically, you are bidding. So you generate coins each turn, and you select a card, and you say, and you bid. You blind bid. So you bid 5, they bid 3. You kill that card, right? Yeah. And then you can revive cards as well. And there are character bonuses and abilities. Yeah. So basically it's a deduction game, because as you bid for cards, you find out what they value. Mm-hmm. So like based on how much they bid for a card,
you know how much they value it.
Yeah. But then obviously there's like layers of bluffing to it and stuff. And so
because there might be an ability that means it's actually does something better that you don't have to value it as much. I don't know.
Exactly right.
It's your game. It's your game, man.
Well, actually, it's your game.
Oh,
you're hired.
What?
That was such a good idea. I can't believe I've never thought of it. And welcome
is it
aboard.
My game? Like you said, it's my game. Have you given me all the IP? So now I just take it and run, or am I now a partner?
Fuck it. Have it.
All right, guys, it's out next year.
Yeah, so that's the game, and I'm honestly so excited about it. It's gonna be fucking
Who's
awesome.
doing all the art?
Friend of a friend.
What's their name? Don't you want to give them a plug? Or do you hate their work so much?
Sure, you're right. Well, it's not even out yet, so we might end up firing him, or no, but we won't. It's his name is Victor Moore.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and you'll be hearing more about him on a future episode of Mike Talks. We probably won't.
Probably won't.
I might. He might get big.
Who knows? Yeah, exactly right.
All right, man. Well, this has been really fun.
This has been fun.
I'm looking forward to playing Crown and Dagger.
Yep. Yes. Well, I mean, I'll bring it next time. We have a game. It's a short game.
You can play it now. It's in a playable form right now.
We have a prototype. Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And that just goes to show why. Oh, the one thing I wanted to ask you. There's one more thing. Obviously your surname is like Solipsis or Solipitius. Reuben Solo. Mm-hmm. Is it influenced at all by Han Solo, or is it just a shortening of your surname?
It's just a shortening. Yeah.
So there was no part of you that's like, Reuben Solo, Han Solo. There's no part of you that ever thought that.
Of course, there was a part of me that thought that.
So it kind of is in.
No, well, the part of me that thought maybe this isn't such a good idea.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love Reuben Solo. I
really like it.
Oh, that's great. That's good.
Do you like Star Wars? Like,
oh yeah. I mean, I'm not like a super big fan or nerd
Yeah.
about it, but yeah.
And have you seen Solo, a Star Wars story?
I have not seen Solo.
Okay,
Star Wars
because
story.
in that, and let's finish it on
Yeah,
this.
they play a couple of my sketches, don't they?
Yeah, they play a few.
That's pretty
Han
fucked.
does a few of your sketches.
Yeah, uncredited.
Uncredited, yeah, like TikTok.
Yeah.
But Han Solo gets his name Han Solo, like he's just Han.
Right.
And then I think he's going on some ship,
Mhm.
and the guy's like, name? He's like, Han. He's like, surname? Oh no, party? Like how many in your
Yeah.
party? And he goes, Solo.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, Han Solo. And then that's how he gets his name. What do you reckon of that?
Someone thought that was so cool
Yeah.
in the writers' room.
Someone's
Didn't
like, hey, guess what? And like every fan of Star Wars was like, that's how he, like, couldn't his name just have been Han Solo?
They didn't have to come up with a backstory for it.
No.
Totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
That's pretty cringy, to be honest.
I realized there was actually one more thing after that I wanted to ask you. Sorry, guys, this is really messy. I sent you a message once saying, or commenting saying, your reels remind me of like the best cutaways from Family Guy.
Yes.
And you said that's awesome.
Mhm.
Any influence from Family Guy?
No, I've seen a few episodes, but
Yeah.
I know the cutscenes are very famous. But
yeah, because so they obviously used to do these cutaways, and sometimes they were bad, but sometimes they were just really funny. And in that sense, it was. I always say Family Guy was always almost more of a sketch comedy than a sitcom,
right.
Because of those cutaways. Like they just let them do whatever they wanted. And yours kind of remind me a bit of that.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Han Solo, everyone. Thanks for joining me.
Well.
Now, Reuben Solo, follow him on Insta. Subscribe on Yui. That's what I call YouTube.
Right.
And
I'm not worried about copyright infringement.
No, why? Because Yui, the insurance company.
Yeah.
No. And what else do you have? Is that all you called a plug?
So I'm working for Yui. So
and
the Despicable Me board game.
I'm sure there's a Kickstarter for Crown and
there will be
Tundra,
one day.
or Crown and
Dagger.
What'd
you call it?
Crown Tundra is the new DLC in the new Pokemon game. My housemate was playing it yesterday,
right,
so it's
That's
fresh
enough.
in my mind. You can take the name if you want. All right, guys. Catch you later.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry, I have to end it. Catch you later.
Thanks for having me so much. A really good time.
And cut.
Okay. And we'll just cut it there.
But I went to run my hand through your hair and I noticed you were attached to string. You were a puppet this whole time, you were attached to string.